Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So in this session, I'm going to discuss a brief principle and procedure of first experiment that comes under volumetric analysis. Okay, I know that a few batches have already completed 2 to 3 titrations, and few batches have already completed 2 to 3 instrumentations. But I thought of explaining once again brief procedure and principle of all 10 experiments for the benefit of all students. So today I'm going to start with the first experiment, which comes under volumetric analysis, that is titration. So once I complete uh, each experiment, you please go through the manual and just find out the procedure and just imagine how titrations can be carried out and how the endpoint of the titration is to be determined. So the first experiment we are going to discuss today is about determination of total hardness of given hard water sample using standard solution of disodium salt of EDTA. Okay, so what is the aim of the experiment? To determine total hardness of given hard water sample. That means we are going to determine the quality of water in terms of its hardness. Okay, so to perform titration, first you should remember a few steps. So here I have mentioned 3 steps which are to be followed before you start your titration. The first step is wash all the glass waste. So glass waste means normally to perform a titration you require burette, pipette and conical flask. Here you need one more glassware, that is standard flask. So you're supposed to wash all the glasswares in tap water and then in distilled water. So that is the first step you need to follow, followed by rinsing. Rinse burette with standard solution and conical flask with test solution. Of course, test solution is nothing but the analyte solution whose concentration is unknown. And the third step is conical flask. So when it comes to conical flask, remember you have to just wash it with tap water and should be rinsed with distilled water. But do not rinse it with any standard solution or test solution, as it may contaminate the test solution, giving inaccurate result. So always remember these 3 steps before you start your titration. Okay. Now let me discuss what is this hard water, why it is required to determine hardness of water. So we know that water is classified as hard water and soft water. Okay. So hard water, it is known that it is not suitable for domestic usage as well as for industrial usage. It is estimated that hardness greater than 500 ppm is not at all suitable for industrial applications. This is why, because hard water is quite corrosive and it may result in scaling of boilers, that is industrial boilers, which often leads to explosion of boilers due to corrosion. Okay, then what do you mean by this hard water and soft water? So we know that soft water is the water which gives lather easily with soap, right? And soft water, of course, it is good for domestic usage and also for industrial usage. Now, what is this hard water? What is the cause for this hardness of water? So hard water means the water which do not give lather easily when treated with soap, which indicates that hard water consumes more soap to give lather. So instead of giving lather, the hard water gives scum. And this hardness of water is mainly due to the presence of dissolved salts. So hardness is mainly due to the presence of dissolved salts of calcium and magnesium, mainly bicarbonates, sulfates, and chlorides of calcium and magnesium. For example, calcium bicarbonate, it is magnesium bicarbonate. Okay, so calcium carbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride. So these are the main salts which are highly responsible for hardness of water. And these salts are dissolved in water. Okay, and if these salts are present in water in high percentage, it may lead to hardness. Okay. So now this hardness of water is expressed in terms of total hardness. That means we are going to determine the total amount of salts present in water, which are responsible for the hardness of the water. So what is the aim of the experiment? Not just hardness, it is the total hardness of the given hard water sample. Then we will discuss what is this total hardness. So total hardness is nothing but the sum of temporary hardness and permanent hardness. Okay, which means that the hardness is classified as temporary and permanent. So the temporary and permanent hardness together called as total hardness. And this total hardness is expressed in terms of ppm of calcium carbonate. That means the total hardness is quantitatively estimated in terms of calcium carbonate in ppm, which is nothing but the milligram of calcium carbonate per liter of hard water. Okay, so what is the unit used to express total hardness? It is the amount of calcium carbonate in ppm, nothing but the milligram of calcium carbonate per liter of hard water, or simply the milligram per liter of calcium carbonate. Okay, so this is how one can determine the total hardness quantitatively in terms of calcium carbonate. So then we will discuss what is this temporary hardness, what is this permanent hardness. So as the name indicates itself, so temporary hardness means the hardness is temporary. Okay, the hardness is temporary, or the hardness which is easy to remove. Whereas permanent hardness doesn't mean that the hardness is permanent. Okay, it is the hardness that can also be removed, but difficult to remove. Then what causes this temporary hardness and what causes this permanent hardness? So temporary hardness, the hardness which is mainly due to unstable bicarbonates. Okay, listen here. The temporary hardness is mainly due to unstable bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium, which can be easily removed by physical method. Okay, it is the hardness which is caused due to bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium, which are unstable salts and can be easily removed through boiling. How by boiling? Say, for example, I have taken calcium bicarbonate. So when water is boiled, this calcium bicarbonate gets precipitated as calcium carbonates, okay, with the formation of water and the release of carbon dioxide gas. So this calcium carbonate gets precipitated means it is insoluble in water, okay. The dissolved bicarbonates are converted into undissolved carbonates, which can be easily filtered off. So you boil the water, bicarbonates gets precipitated as carbonates, which is then removed through filtration. Okay, but when it comes to permanent hardness, this permanent hardness is caused due to stable sulfates and chlorides of calcium and magnesium. Okay, so permanent hardness is caused due to stable sulfates and chlorides of calcium and magnesium. These salts are highly stable, which cannot be just removed through boiling. Okay, so the permanent hardness becomes difficult to remove. Then how it can be removed? So you have to go through some chemical processes. Okay, for example, reverse osmosis, ion exchange process, electrodialysis, okay, lime soda process, many more are there. Okay, but very simple here. Temporary hardness can be removed through physical method like boiling. Permanent hardness can be removed through chemical processes. Okay, for example, it can be reverse osmosis, it can be ion exchange process, electrodialysis, etc. Okay, now you understood on what basis the hardness is classified as temporary and permanent hardness. So you have to determine the total hardness considering both temporary hardness and permanent hardness. Then how to determine this total hardness? Okay, the total hardness is quantitatively estimated through a titration known as complexometric titration. Okay, so our aim is to determine total hardness, which is estimated through complexometric titration. Let me understand what is this complexometric titration. So complexometric titration is the one in which complex formation occurs. Very simple. It is a titration which involves the formation of complex compounds using suitable complexing agent, which is nothing but EDTA, okay, or disodium salt of EDTA. So understood? Complexometric titration is the titration in which the complex formation occurs. So complex formation means the coordination compounds are also called as complex compounds. And this complex formation occurs by the use of a suitable complexing agent which can strongly form complexes within metal ions. Okay. And the complexing agent which can form complex with the metal ions are called as ligands. So for example, EDTA. Okay, so EDTA is used as a standard solution because it is a strong complexing agent as it is an hexadentate ligand. Here I have written the structure of EDTA as well as disodium salt of EDTA. So EDTA, that is ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid with ethylene group to amine group, and 4 acetic acid group. Okay, it is an acid. Okay, because on dissociation, it can give 4 H plus ions. EDTA can give 4 H plus ions on dissociation, resulting in the formation of complexes. So it is said to be a strong complexing agent because it is an hexadentate ligand. So hexadentate means it consists of 6 electron pair donor atoms, such as 2 nitrogen atoms and 4 oxygen atoms of acetic acid group. Okay, hence it is an hexadentate ligand and therefore it acts as a strong complexing agent which can form stable complexes with many cations. Okay, it can form stable complexes with many cations. And also here I have shown the structure of disodium salt of EDTA, in which the 2 H plus ions are replaced by 2 sodium atoms. This is why, because EDTA is sparingly soluble in water. So if you have to prepare a standard solution of EDTA, it is not completely soluble in water. Therefore, instead of using EDTA, we use disodium salt of EDTA, which is also a strong complexing agent. Okay, understood? So here, which is a standard solution used? A disodium salt of EDTA, which is this good complexing agent, which results in the formation of complexes and helps in the determination of endpoint. Okay. So now what is the principle involved in this experiment? Complexometric titration. So through complexometric titration, we are going to determine total hardness of given hard water sample. Okay, and what is total hardness? It is a sum of temporary hardness and permanent hardness, which is expressed in terms of ppm of calcium carbonate. Why it is expressed in terms of ppm of calcium carbonate? Okay, because here we are estimating in terms of calcium carbonate. Why it is so? Okay, the reason here is the calcium carbonate is highly insoluble. That means whenever the water is treated, calcium carbonate is the component which is highly precipitated because it is highly insoluble in water. And the second simple reason is its molecular weight is 100. Okay, it is a whole number. So because of these two reasons, we consider total hardness in terms of calcium carbonate. Okay, the first reason is when water is treated, which is the component that is highly precipitated, calcium carbonate, because it is highly insoluble. Okay, and the second reason is its molecular weight is 100, which is a whole number, and calculation becomes a lot easier. Okay, so now we got to know what is total hardness, what are the types of hardness, what are the differences between temporary hardness and permanent hardness, and what is complexometric titration. Okay, now we move to the procedure. Okay, so of course, the first part of the procedure in titration is preparation of standard solution. Okay, what is the first part of the procedure? Preparation of standard solution. What do you mean by standard solution? Yeah, so titration means what? It is a process in which a solution of unknown concentration is titrated with solution of known concentration using a suitable indicator which shows the color change. Okay, a solution of unknown concentration can be determined by using a solution of known concentration. A solution whose concentration is known is called a standard solution. Now, in the determination of total hardness, which is a standard solution used? Of course, it is disodium salt of EDTA, and we already know why disodium salt of EDTA is used as a standard solution. So, preparation of standard solution plays a very important role here. Okay, because here a standard solution must be prepared properly in order to get accurate result. Okay, so to prepare a standard solution, which is a glassware used? Standard flask, or what you call it as volumetric flask. Here I have taken an example of 250 cc volumetric flask, so which consists of long glass stem with round bottom, and this is the lid to cover the standard flask, or what you call it as a stopper, and there is a mark which is given here. So the volume considering up to the mark corresponds to 250 ml volume. Okay, now here to prepare standard disodium salt of EDTA, you should take a standard flask, take a known weight of disodium salt of EDTA salt, transfer it into standard flask. Okay, and a weight of the salt can be taken using electronic balance. Okay, and the salt should be completely transferred into volumetric flask and dissolve this salt in minimum volume of water along with 2 cc of ammonia. Okay, along with 2 cc of ammonia, you have to dissolve this salt in minimum water. So why this ammonia is added? Normally we can dissolve the salt in water, but in the case of disodium salt of EDTA, along with water we are adding ammonia. Why this ammonia? So disodium salt of EDTA is soluble in water, but its rate of solubility is quite slow. So ammonia can increase the rate of solubility of disodium salt of EDTA. So only we add small volume of water along with 2 cc of ammonia, dissolve the crystals completely in minimum water, okay, and then start adding water carefully up to the mark, okay, considering lower meniscus. So this is very, very important. Okay, you have to dissolve the crystals in minimum water, and after complete dissolution of the salt, start adding water up to the mark carefully, considering lower meniscus. So once water is added, that is DI water, distilled water is added up to the mark, then put this stopper, okay, mix the solution to get uniform concentration. Okay, you have to mix this solution to get uniform concentration. This is your standard solution. Okay, a 250 cc standard solution is prepared. So a standard solution can be prepared only by taking accurate weight of this salt, which should be dissolved in accurate volume of the solvent to get a standard solution. Okay, so this is the first part of the procedure. Okay, this is the first part of the procedure. And the second part of the procedure is estimation of total hardness. So once the standard solution is prepared, using the standard solution, we have to determine what is the concentration of the test solution, that is analyte solution. In this case, the test solution is, of course, the hard water sample. Now, to perform a titration, as I already mentioned, we require burette, conical flask, okay, and also a pipette. Okay, then what should be taken in burette? The prepared disodium salt of EDTA solution. Okay, fill the burette with prepared disodium salt of EDTA solution. And in the conical flask, so you need to pipette out 25 cc of hard water sample whose concentration is unknown. So you have to pipette out accurately 25 cc of hard water sample, followed by the addition of 2 cc ammonium chloride buffer, which is also called as ammonical buffer. So complexometric reaction requires a specific pH. Okay, so to maintain constant pH of the solution, we should add buffer. Okay, we should add buffer. So what is the buffer added here? NH3NH4 Cl buffer or ammonical buffer. What do you mean by buffer? It is a solution which can restrict the change in pH of the solution when an acid or base is added. So NH3NH4Cl maintains a constant pH of 10 because in this experiment, the pH range required is 9 to 11. Okay, 9 to 11. So in between 9 to 11 pH, we have to maintain a constant pH. That is done by adding ammonical buffer. That is done by adding ammonical buffer, which can maintain constant pH of 10. So based on the pH value, you can say that ammonical buffer is a basic buffer. Okay, ammonical buffer is a basic buffer. Why this basic buffer is required? Okay, why this basic buffer is required? Because here, as I already discussed here, see EDTA is a strong complexing agent which consists of 4 replaceable H plus ions. And disodium salt of EDTA is also a strong complexing agent which consists of 2 replaceable H plus ions. So during complex formation, what happens? These 2 H plus ions are replaced by metal ions. As a result, the H plus ions are released into the solution and makes the medium acidic. Okay. To neutralize this acidic medium, what is to be added? Base is to be added. Therefore, this basic buffer, ammonical buffer, is added, which maintains constant pH of 10. Okay. So what should be taken in conical flask? 25 cc of hard water sample consisting of calcium and magnesium ions. Okay. Followed by the addition of ammonical buffer to maintain pH of 10. So here I have taken 25 cc of hard water along with 2 cc of ammonical buffer and few drops of Aerochrome black tea indicator. So what is the name of the indicator here used? It is a metal ion indicator. Okay. So the first conical flask, what I have shown, 25 cc of hard water sample consisting of calcium and magnesium ions, and we add ammonical buffer and few drops of indicator. So what is the name of the indicator used here? Aerochrome black tea indicator, which is called as metal ion indicator. Why this indicator is called as metal ion indicator? Because this is a specific indicator which indicates the presence of metal ions. How this indicator can indicate the presence of metal ions? So this indicator also forms a complex, okay, and giving a wine red color to the solution. So we know that hard water is colorless, but when this Aerochrome black tea indicator is added, the solution turns to wine red color. So why this wine red color is formed? Due to the formation of metal ion EBT complex, indicating that EBT also forms complexes with metal ions and indicates their presence. That is why we call it as a metal ion indicator. Now, the solution in the conical flask, okay, must be titrated against standard disodium salt of EDTA, which is taken in the burette. Okay, start adding the standard EDTA solution, okay, slowly with constant mixing of the solution until the color changes to clear blue. Okay, so your initial color of the solution is wine red, which then turns to clear blue at the end point. She's unstable. Okay, so start performing the titration by titrating this solution against disodium salt of EDTA until the color changes to clear blue. So clear blue is the end point of the titration. So what is the end point of the titration? Wine red to clear blue. Why at the end point the color changes to clear blue? This is very simple. So when disodium salt of EDTA is added into the solution, so disodium salt of EDTA being a strong complexing agent, it starts dissociating this metal ion EBT complex and takes all the metal ions. Okay, it takes all the metal ions and gets complexed with all the metal ions. So when all the metal ions are complexed with EDTA, which results in the formation of metal ion EDT complex, the Aerochrome black tea indicator is set free. Okay, it is set free in solution, and this color of this free indicator in solution is blue. Okay, so in the beginning, the indicator gives wine red color with the metal ions, but at the beginning, at the end point, what happens? The indicator is released free. Why the indicator is released free? Because EDTA is getting complexed with all the metal ions present in the solution. So when blue color is formed, it indicates the titration is completed, indicating that all the metal ions are totally complexed with EDTA and the indicator is separated out and it is set free. The color of free indicator in solution is blue. So only the color changes from wine red to clear blue. This is the end point of the titration. Now what this reaction indicates?
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. My
Yeah.
screen is not visible.
Which screen?
Like video is not visible for me. Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Now it's visible, no? Okay, sorry, there is internet
Yeah.
problem. Okay. Yeah. Now, what is the end point of the titration? It is from wine red to clear blue. So why it is wine red? Because the indicator gets complexed with metal ions present, imparting wine red color. And at the end point, what happens? It turns to clear blue. This is why, because EDTA gets complexed with metal ions and the indicator is released free. The color of free indicator is blue in color. Now, if you look at the reaction, in the beginning, there is a complex formation occurs between metal ions and indicator. But at the end point, the complex formation occurs between EDTA and the metal ions. So this indicates what? So throughout the titration, there is a formation of a complex. And hence this titration is called as complexometric titration. Okay. So this is how do we determine the end point of the titration. Similarly, you have to perform 3 trials. Okay. So the first titration has to be carried out by titrating the hard water sample against disodium salt of EDTA in presence of buffer and indicator. So after the first trial, you have to perform 2 more trials following the same procedure. So after 3 trials, you should not take the average. You have to consider one value which should be taken as concordant burette reading. Now using that concordant burette reading, you need to find out what is the concentration of hard water and then the amount of calcium carbonate present in hard water. Okay, I hope procedure you have understood. So what is the first part of the procedure? It is preparation of standard solution and second part of the procedure is titration. Okay, so now the next part is calculation. So calculation is very simple. So standard solution means its concentration is known. So first you need to find out the concentration of standard solution. So which is the standard solution prepared here? Disodium salt of EDTA. So its concentration is determined in terms of molarity. Okay. So what do you mean by molarity? In general, molarity means number of moles per liter. So concentration of a solution can be determined either in terms of normality or in terms of molarity or in terms of molality. But in the case of disodium salt of EDTA, its concentration is expressed in terms of molarity and it is calculated by using the formula weight of disodium salt of EDTA salt taken multiplied by 4 divided by molecular weight of EDTA. So the molecular weight of EDTA is a standard value that is 372.24. But in the numerator, we have taken 4. Okay, the weight of EDTA is multiplied by 4. This is why, because the definition says number of moles per liter. But here, the volume of standard solution prepared is for 250 cc. So we need to calculate the molarity per 250 cc and not per liter. So the weight of EDTA should be multiplied by 1000 and divided by 250. Okay. So the weight of EDTA should be multiplied by 4 in order to calculate molarity of EDTA per 250 cc. So now by knowing the molarity of EDTA or molarity of a standard solution, we can find out the molarity of hard water. That is the concentration of hard water. So apply the simple formula M1V1 is equal to M2V2 formula. So here, which is the solution of known concentration? Of course, it is EDTA. that is disodium salt of EDTA, and which is a solution of unknown concentration, that is a test solution, hard water. So molarity into volume of EDTA is equal to molarity into volume of hard water. So what we need to find out here, molarity of hard water. So rearrange this equation, molarity of hard water is equal to molarity of EDTA, which is calculated by using the above equation, into volume of EDTA. So what is volume of EDTA? It is the burette reading. As I already mentioned, the burette reading is not the average of all the three readings. It is the one value which should be considered. That is, out of three titer values, you have to consider one titer value as your concordant burette reading, and that is the volume of EDTA consumed. That should be substituted here, divided by volume of hard water. So what is the volume of hard water taken in each trial? It is 25 cc. So what is the volume of hard water? It is 25 cc. Now, by knowing the molarity of hard water, okay, with the help of molarity of EDTA, next we can calculate the total hardness. Okay, we already discussed the total hardness is expressed in terms of amount of calcium carbonate. First, we need to calculate what is the weight of calcium carbonate per liter of hard water. So what is the formula used to calculate weight per liter? Molarity into molecular weight. If you consider normality, it is normality into equivalent weight. But here we have considered molarity. Therefore, we are taking molarity of hard water multiplied by molecular weight of calcium carbonate, that is 100. So substitute the molarity of hard water value multiplied by 100. So you will get some value. Let me consider this value as a gram of calcium carbonate, which is present in liter of hard water. Okay, through this calculation, we are going to get some value, and that value corresponds to what? A gram of calcium carbonate per liter of hard water. Okay, therefore, if liter means 1000 cc of hard water contains a gram of calcium carbonate, find out how much amount of calcium carbonate present in million cc of hard water, because the total hardness is expressed in ppm. What is ppm? It is the parts per million. If 1 liter of hard water contains a gram of calcium carbonate, find out million cc of hard water contains how much. That is 10 power 6 cc of hard water contains how much. So simple cross multiplication, a into 10 power 6 divided by 1000. So this 1000 will get cancelled, which becomes equal to a into 1000. When this a value is multiplied by 1000, it gives you some value which is taken as b value. And what is this b value corresponds to? B value is nothing but the milligram of calcium carbonate which is present per liter of hard water, or very simple, it is the b ppm of calcium carbonate present in hard water. Okay, this is how do we calculate. So total hardness is calculated in terms of ppm of calcium carbonate. Okay, first you need to find out the molarity of EDTA, then you find out molarity of hard water, then you find out weight of calcium carbonate per liter, then calculate what is the weight of calcium carbonate per million cc. That gives you the total hardness of given hard water sample, which is calculated in terms of ppm of calcium carbonate. Okay, so this is about the procedure and calculation of total hardness experiment. Okay. Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask me. So I'll be explaining second experiment in the next session. So I'll be starting next session from 2:45 to 3:35. Okay. So every Thursday, I'm going to explain two experiments. Okay. So please join in the next session at 2:45.